Yes, I will. All right. Okay, you should be good.
There we go. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. Awesome. So yeah, as Eric was mentioning, super interesting topic, and like nowadays is way more kind of common to hear about mental performance training and mental performance coaches around. And I think it's like super interesting, and it's something that affects every athlete, and not just athlete, like you on a daily basis. Like if you're like, I don't know, like an accountant, or like you work on the film industry, whatever, like the mental aspect of your life is really important. And I was always really passionate about, and yeah, I got certified this year. So yeah, it will be awesome. Thank you so much for letting me take some time. I promise it's not going to be 2 hours like yesterday, not even close to that. So don't get scared. We will get through it quite fast. But yeah, let's get it going. First of all, we have what is mental performance coaching? Just for everyone to understand, I'm going to read this slide here. Mental performance coaching is the art and science of helping those you work with overcome the mental barriers that trip them up and build the habits, behaviors, and routines they need to achieve their goals and perform at a high level, right? A lot of fancy words there, but don't worry, we'll break it down in a little bit. But this is why what a mental performance coach does, right, is like trying to guide you and help you to make sure that you can be the best version of yourself. All right, and why is it important, right? Because everyone talks about mental performance, but I don't think many people is talking about, okay, like why I need to pay attention on this. And again, like just like you perform drills to improve your specific sports specific skills, and there is physical training to get stronger or lose weight, there is also mental training to become more focused, resilient, confident, and motivated, right? All those things that we usually talk about that you believe is like, oh, it's something that you have or you don't, right? Being focused or being confident or having motivation is something that you can actually train, right? And you can get better at every day. So how we're going to do this, how we're going to help you to get those things done. And my mentor, Brian King, that is why where I studied, has taken what makes the world's top coaches and athletes successful and has broken it down into a group of fundamental and trainable mental skills that make up what we call the 10 pillars of mental performance. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to break those 10 pillars down. We're going to explain them briefly so you have an understanding of what actual mental performance means, and all the things are included on the mental performance kind of game, right? Usually when we say mental performance, everyone thinks about like mindfulness and meditation, and I need to be all zen and that. And yes, that's part of it. That's just one pillar out of 10. So what everyone thinks about mental performance, that is meditation and mindfulness and mental imagery, that's just a 10% of all the things that you can do to try to be the best version of yourself. All right, so if you are good to go, Eric, we are going to dive in right away into the 10 pillars. All right.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. So 10 pillars of mental performance. First of all, we have elite mindset, all right? An elite mindset.
Adriano, I will interrupt you after all. Probably should have jumped in with that. Is just same thing as yesterday. If in case anyone wasn't on there, you guys are welcome to kind of raise your hand here or type in something to the group chat, or also type it into us individually if you want us to read it out. But really encourage you guys to ask some questions and to make sure you're sort of you're really thinking about it and getting curious. So please jump in anytime you want.
Yeah, of course, feel free to ask questions whenever you want. So as I was saying, first pillar of mental performance is elite mindset. That is also elite perspective about things. And the mindset is something that you can grow. It's not something that, okay, I was born with this way of thinking and there's nothing I can do about it. No, like the mind is something that you can also train, you can grow, you can get better. And the same with your perspective and the way you see things. And for example, I'm going to just show you a picture. Let me see here. All right, so this is the FedEx logo. Everyone here thought like you saw this logo like 1,000 times. It's a really common logo, like a huge company. How many of you knew that this logo has an arrow between the E and the X? Now you can see that there is an arrow between the E and the X. So I'm going to take this logo out. I'm going to open up again. And again, probably the only thing that you can see right now is the arrow, right? This happened to me the first time that I got introduced to like this kind of exercise. I didn't know that the FedEx logo has an arrow. And now every time I see a FedEx truck or a package or something, the only thing that I can see is the arrow, because like it's there, it has been there all the time, but there was something before that was not allowing me to see it. And now because I changed the way I see things, changed the perspective, it made me change the way I see this logo. And this is like a really silly kind of example, but if
Adrian,
you're
I've got to jump in for a second because I don't see an arrow at all. So I wonder if we were looking at the right slide here.
Are you seeing the FedEx logo?
Oh, that, okay, sorry. Yeah, all right, I got you now. Okay. I thought you were talking about underneath. Great, thank you.
No. There you go.
I won't miss it.
It's there. And like, I can guarantee you that now you're not going to be able to see anything else at the arrow. It's there all the time. It has been there always, but it was hiding. All right, it was hidden, sorry. So this is the same with your daily basis. Like sometimes we have situations, we have events that we cannot change, but we can change the way we see those events, right? For example, I don't know, the pandemic, right? Global pandemic, we went into shutdown. There was nothing we can do about it, but there is something that you can do about it. You can see it with different eyes. And for example, for me, the pandemic allowed me to finish this mastery on mental performance. At the beginning, I was kind of frustrated because it's like, man, I can be in the gym, I can do this, I can do that. But then it gave me a lot of more time to be able to get into this more dedicated and actually getting certified as a mental performance coach. So there is always two ways or more than the two ways to see things. And that's why elite mindset means on the first pillar of mental performance. We're going to go jumping right away into the second pillar of mental performance, that is motivation and commitment. Again, words that you listen 2,000 times, and motivation is what gets you going, right? That end goal that you want to accomplish, right? That fire that you have inside you is like, okay, I want to play post-secondary basketball. I want to make the team next year. I want to win provincial championship. That is the motivation. That's the end goal that you have. The commitment is how you react when that end goal is getting harder and harder, right? Because on a good day, it's like, okay, my goal is to play post-secondary basketball and I'm getting all pumped and going and training every day because I love it. What about when you start seeing that things are getting harder and there's a lot of people fighting for those spots and maybe you need to wake up early to go to the weight room and you don't want to, right? That's how you react when things are getting harder, right? That's motivation and commitment, and they go hand by hand, of course, because one feeds off the other, okay? So that's a pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 of mental performance is focus and awareness. Focus is the ability to be present on what's going on right now. Is the ability to be focused on the present moment, to have your feet on the ground and to be able to think on what you need to do right here, right now, right? Awareness is your ability to realize when that focus is shifting away, right? When that focus is going away, all right, for a minute, for 2 minutes, for half an hour. It happens sometimes. It happens to a lot of you. It used to happen to me a lot. It still happens. When I'm studying something or reading, sometimes I have the book in front of me, I'm reading, and then a fly went by and I'm looking to the fly and I lost half an hour thinking about who knows. And in the moment I realized that I lost the focus, it has been half an hour since I lost the focus. So your awareness is your ability to realize when your focus is shifting from where you want that focus to be, right? And being able to bring that back to the present moment and be able to get the task done that you want and you need to do at that precise moment, right? So that's pillar number 3 So far, so good, Eric?
Great. Yeah. I mean, I think that we can all sort of relate to that one, especially on the court where we miss a shot and our focus is almost, it's so hard not to be on the last mistake or the missed shot. And, I think what a lot of us don't realize though is that can be trained, and that, we might have a habit of sitting and complaining or swearing or pouting or just thinking about, your technique. That is something that we can train. Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's move on into the pillar number 4, that is self-control and discipline. And self-control is the ability of being in control of yourself. It sounds kind of obvious, self-control, being in control of yourself, but when you're in control of yourself, that is going to allow you to control your performance, right? And there is 2 huge rules about self-control, right? First one, you need to be able to be in control of yourself, right? That's the most important thing on the mental game. You need to be able to be in control of yourself. And the second rule is you have really little control of the things that go around you, right? So don't get caught, don't put your focus in the things that you cannot control, because the only thing that they're going to do, they're going to distract you and they're going to shift your focus for the things that you actually need to focus on, right? So that's super important. Rule number 1 of the mental game, try to be in control of yourself so you can control your performance. Rule number 2, right? Don't focus on the things that you can control, because as the word says, you can't do anything about it, all right? And the discipline is the ability that you have to do what is need to be done, even if you feel like it or not, all right? That sometimes is the hard thing. It's like, oh man, I want to play post-secondary basketball. That means that I need to wake up every day at 6 a.m. and go to the weight room because I need to, get some muscle, right? Your ability to wake up every day and put the extra job, the extra time, right? That's what we call discipline, right? And the discipline and self-control, again, they go directly hand by hand. A lot of people says like, oh man, I need more self-control. Like my self-control is brutal. Every time I go out of school, I go to McDonald's because I'm super hungry and I can't control myself. Okay, yeah, self-control is needed, but you first need the discipline not to put yourself in situations where self-control is needed, right? For example, if you have the discipline to pack a sandwich, to pack a meal, to go to school, when you get out of school, you're not going to be super hungry, so you're not going to put yourself in a situation where you need that self-control not to go to McDonald's. All right. And the same happens like on the sport environment, right? You know that every time that you arrive to the gym late, right, you have a terrible practice and it's like, man, I can't control myself. Every time I'm late, I'm all over the place. Like I need to be able to bring myself back. Yes, of course, you need that self-control, but you first need the discipline to organize yourself, to organize your day, to not be late to practice. So you're not putting yourself in a stress situation that is going to cause you maybe using that self-control, all right? So that's why self-control and discipline go hand by hand, and like one feeds off the other. All right, so now we have the next one, the pillar number 5, that is process over outcome. This is super important. The outcome, everyone wants to win the national championship. UBC, UCLA, Toronto Raptors, they want to win the NBA championship. Everyone wants the best for their program, for yourself. What are you doing today to get closer to that end goal that you have, right? Today plus today plus today is going to help you to get yourself closer to the outcome, to that end goal that you have. Sometimes we focus so much on that end goal that we have over there, and we forget that it starts with today. It starts with the process of, okay, what can I win today? What can I do today better to make myself, all right, closer for when I want to go? All right, for example, for me, what is my outcome? What is my goal? I want to be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, and I want to coach NBA. Cool. Yeah, sorry, Eric, I'm leaving you. I'm going to the NBA. I'm going to the bigger leagues. I want to be there. What is the process? Okay, there is a process. What I can do today to put myself there, right? I need to get better at my English because everyone speaks English there and my English is getting better, but it's not as great. Okay, I need to study. I need to read more. I need to get more videos of language, like whatever happened to be, all right? My English is not that bad, by the way. It was way worse a little bit ago, but like it's getting there. Just be nice. All right, so that's process over outcome. All right, that's a pillar number 5. We're going to jump right back into pillar number 6, that is mental imagery and meditation. All right, so this is what we talked before, that everyone thinks that mental performance is just about this pillar. Oh, mental performance, yeah, you're going to talk about meditation. Yes, but it's not just that, right? Meditation, as Eric was mentioning before, is a training for you to be more focused, right? Meditation is going to help you to be more focused in the present moment, to be more aware of where you are at right now. And that's why meditation is being used to calm yourself a little bit as well, but also to focus and to work and to train that focus of yourself. Mental imagery is your ability to imagine yourself, to see yourself doing things before you do it, right? Doing a shot, doing a drill, making a play, whatever happened to be, right? That's mental imagery. And to give an example, a lot of university teams do this, like on the States that they have like bigger budgets and like bigger stuff. I will say like Division I teams, men's and women's, I would say 75% of those teams, they have one coach specifically focused in mental performance, right? And one of those things that they do, and it is on the mental imagery, I was reading this the other day, super interesting. On the shoot around on the day of the game or the night before, if you're having an early game, you go, you shoot around, you take your shot, you recognize the gym and everything. A lot of things what they do, they go back to the locker room, they turn all the lights off, right? They make the players lay on the ground, close their eyes. They put maybe some background noise about crowd or like court sounds to make them feel like they're in that kind of atmosphere of a game. And the scout report starts. They start talking about what they're going to see on the game. And to give you an idea, for example, it's like they're reading number 10, she is a great shooter, right? So every time that you're guarding number 10 and you receive a screen, make sure you're fighting over, because if you try to go under, that player is going to take that shot and it's going to make you pay. So what you're doing in that moment, all right, you're not just listening to the scout report. You're with your eyes closed. You have all the environment focused on the court, and you're seeing yourself. You're seeing yourself in that situation, guarding number 10. The screen is hitting you. You're seeing yourself fighting over top, trying to make that player go to the rim instead of taking that shot, because what that player wants is take a shot, and we want to send that player to the rim. All right. So then the next day, on that, a couple of hours later, when that situation happens on a game, it's not new for you. It's not something that is taking you for a surprise. It's not something that you just listen about. You saw yourself doing that, all right, on your mind. But that's how powerful it is, right? And that takes all the stress of that situation of like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to guard it, because you saw yourself doing it, right? So you are way more prepared, all right, for the task that needs to be done in that present moment. And that's when the focus comes back, right? You need to have the ability to be present in what's matter right now. And what matters right now is you need to fight the screen over top, because if not, number 10 is going to pull a three-pointer and you're going to go to the bench because the coach is going to say, hey, we talk about this. What are you doing? All right, so that's how powerful mental imagery is. We're going to jump. We're going to keep going. Let me know, Eric, if I'm going too fast, too slow.
No, I think it's good. Maybe I'll just jump in for 1 second, give you a chance to catch your breath. But, I know lots of you guys got to see NBA playoffs last year. And there's obviously lots of people who are using sort of mental imagery and who are practicing meditation. But, I think in a lot of the NBA games, they were really talking about how much Jamal Murray has done with that. And you think about, the success he has had. Jamal has been successful at every level, including with sort of Team Canada beating one of the only times Canada's beat the States at the, I think it was the U19 level or the level. And Jamal was just unbelievable in those games. You look at him and the contrast between Jamal's performance the first couple games of the season that don't really matter, the stakes aren't all that big, and how he was let's say against the Lakers there, well, all those series, coming back from 3 games to 1 down against, who was that against? Was that Utah as well as the Clippers?
Yeah, they did it first against Utah, and then they did it against the Clippers.
Yeah, and Murray had I think it was 4 games over 40 points in a row,
Yeah.
and to have it, and I think that is the type of thing that you can point to, of just saying, like, the bigger the stage, the better he is able to perform, and that's tough. Most of us naturally, without some of this training, the bigger the stage, the more we start thinking about, oh no, what if I miss? There's more fans, in the stands. The consequences are bigger. Oh, my contract might not get renewed, and our mind naturally goes to that. And I think he's a great example of showing the power of mindfulness and meditation in terms of being able to rise to the moment.
All right, great. So we're going to keep going. We're going to move on into the pillar number 7, that is routines and habits of excellence. And I'm a big fan of this pillar because I think it's so important, and it's something that everyone has a routine, right? You want it or not, you have a routine for something in your life. And on the court, for example, everyone probably has a free throw routine, right? I would say like the majority of you will have, because it's something that we talk, right? But what else can you predetermine on your day, on the court, on your game, to make sure that you have the things lined up the way you want it, right? That's how powerful it is to have a lot of routines in your day, all right? Some people might say, oh, basketball routines are not as important because it's more like a flowing game. You don't have as many stops, like, I don't know, like baseball, that you have every 30 seconds you have a stop, so you have more times to assess yourself, to see where your focus is, or what you need to do for the next play. So maybe you need more routines. And you can see the game of baseball or tennis. You watch someone like Rafael Nadal. He has 2,000 routines per minute. Every time he serves, he's like hair here, hair there, nose, shirt, boom. And he's like, too many routines because he has a lot of stops. And some people I was reading is like, hey, basketball, you don't need as many routines because it's more like a flowing game. And I will say it's completely the opposite, because it is a flowing game. Those little moments that you have that you can predetermine, you need to make sure that you have a routine in place. It is a timeout. It is a pre-game routine. It is a halftime routine. It is a post-game routine. It is a free throw. All right. All those things that you can control, it should be under your control. So that way you're going to have your brain and your body ready for the decision-making moment of the game of your life. Habits of excellence, again, they go hand by hand. For example, I'm on a game, I'm on the key, the ball gets skipped to my check, and I'm closing out. I have a great habit of playing defense, so my closeout is going to be 3/4 of the way. I'm going to sprint the last quarter. I'm going to chop my feet. I'm going to be with my hands high, ready to react to the next thing that the opponent is going to present. Okay, is he driving right, left, is shooting? So now I'm reacting to that little step. But because I have a great habit, I have that reaction ready to go. If I didn't have that habit, and in the moment that the ball gets skipped to my check, I'm thinking, oh my God, what I'm gonna do? I'm sprinting full speed. I don't know if I need to chop my feet or no. I'm thinking about that. My check is gonna catch a ball, it's going to attack, and I'm not going to be ready to react because my focus, my mind was thinking, how do I need to close out? All right. Instead, if I have that habit down, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just reading yourself and reading, okay, what are you gonna do? I'm ready for the next task. I'm focused in the present moment. Right. So that's why I think routines and habits of excellence are so great and so important, because it's something that we all have and we can make it way better in our daily basis. We're almost getting to an end of the 10 pillars of mental performance.
Maybe, Adriano, I can jump in for 1 second. I'll just say
Sure.
that in terms of routines and habits, one of the reasons I chose the name Split Second a long time ago is that for me, I didn't realize when I was growing up, just the importance of 1/10 of a second or 2/10 of a second is, especially while shooting the ball. And when we talk about habits, if you get in the gym and every time you're in there, whether it's shooting at practice or get on your own before, if every time you're a little bit sloppy, maybe you use slightly different footwork, you're not really thoughtful of how you catch it, you're not thoughtful about being time efficient, where you are being, absolutely maximizing your performance, that you're able to catch and release the ball probably in about 4/10 of a second, you're going to have a habit and routine that's not optimized. And it might not bother you at this level, but our idea, we want to prepare you to be the best player you can be. And so eventually you have to be really efficient catching and shooting the ball. And, that really just comes from everybody in the gym thinking about that. So be really deliberate with these routines and habits, and try and model what the best players do, that, the person you look up to, because, that can help you maybe develop some routines and habits that you're not even aware of are important at this point.
No, yeah, for sure. And we're going to get more into routines and habits probably a little bit later on. So let's move on. We have pillar number 8, time management and organization. Something that is so important, because doesn't matter if you are from Canada, from Argentina, if you are 5'2" or 6'8", doesn't matter all of those things. Everyone has 24 hours a day. Everyone has the same time, and time is the only thing that is exactly the same for everyone around the world. So the way you organize your day and how organized you are is going to dictate how ahead of the competition you are, right? And this is so great. Like, I was reading the other day an article from the New York Times about LeBron James and how he has his days planned to the minute. It's just crazy. On Playoff Time, way more. This was an article exactly from Playoff Time, like a couple of years ago when he was in Cleveland. He has a routine that is detailed to the minute. You're going to wake up at this time. You're going to have breakfast at this time. You're going to have recovery at this time. Then you're going to have 5 minutes to spare. And then you're doing this and that to the minute, right? Of course, LeBron James, he does like this and has 5 assistants at his house helping him around. But again, he's that intentional with the way he organized his day. No wonder why he never had like serious injuries, why he always have been performing at the highest level for the last how many seasons, right? There is some intention behind it. There is some organization, and there is some proper process that he puts in place to make sure that he stays at the top of the top, right? So he knows everyone has 24 hours on a day. Okay, what am I doing with that time? How efficient I'm being with those 24 hours, all right? So that's a pillar number 8. We're going to move to the last 2. Next one is going to be pillar number 9, that is leadership. Another great pillar. And leadership, you might think, hey, this is something that you were born with or not. This is something that you have or you not. And I will say the leadership that you have is the leadership that you train. Leader is something that you can train, you can get better at. And that's why I like to divide this in 3 stages. These 3 stages of leadership are kind of a video game. There are levels that you need to be master on the level 1 to be able to move to the level 2, and then you're going to be able to move to the level 3. The 3 levels of leadership: first one is synergy, second one is sweat, and third one is serve. First one, all right, we have synergy, is your ability to make connections with those ones around you. It is your teammates, it is your coaching staff, it is your co-workers at the office, right? How good you are making connections with those people, how much you know them, how much you know how this person is affected by these and these things, how much you know how this person has been growing up, all right? How much you know about this player likes and dislikes, right? So that's synergy, and that's the first thing, if you want to be a great leader, that you need to focus on, making connections with the people that is around you, right? That's the first thing. Once you have that done, that you have that master, it's like, hey, that doesn't mean that you need to be friends with everyone around you, but you need to have an idea how they are, how they behave, what they like, what they don't like, all right? Because that is going to help you on the rest of the process. Now that you move to the level 2, that is sweat, you need to be able to lead by example, all right? If one of our things on the team is like being on time, you need to be all the time on time. You need to lead by example. You can't be late if you want to be a good leader. If we say like we don't allow second opportunities on defense, you need to box out. You need to make sure that you're putting everything you have to box out and give yourself the chance to grab that rebound, right? So first stage, synergy, make connections with your teammates. Second stage, sweat, make sure you're leading by example, that you're doing the things that need to be done in the moment that need to be done. And that is going to allow you to move to the third level of leadership, that is serve. Be there for your teammates. Help them on what they need. And that might be, hey, Eric, make sure you're boxing out. But for me to be able to say that to you, Eric, that you need to box out, when I see that you're not boxing out, I need to be doing that myself. I need to be boxing out myself. And second, I need to know you, right? Because some people react differently to different messages. If I yell to you and it's like, come on, Eric, you need to box out, you might be a little bit more sensitive. You might take that into the wrong way. And that, instead of encouraging you to do it the next time, is going to throw you down. Some people react better to yelling. Some people react better to a more tender voice, right? You need to know that. And if you don't have connection with your teammates, there is no way you're going to find the proper tone to deliver that message. And as I mentioned before, if you're not doing it yourself, all right, if you come to me and say like, hey, you're not box out, and I see that you're not boxing out, I'm going to say like, who are you to tell me that if you're not doing it, right? So that's why it's kind of a video game. You need to make connections, you need to do it yourself, and that is going to allow you to help those ones around you, right? And that's a pillar 9 of mental performance. We're going to move to the last one here, that is culture. And culture is having the right culture. Why do you need to have the right culture as an organization? That is going to dictate the behaviors that are accepted and unaccepted on your program, right? Your culture is everyone is on time. You need to make sure that everyone is on time and that being late is not accepted, and there's going to be consequences about it, all right? And usually, if you don't like your results that you're getting as an organization, if you're not like your results that you're getting on your workspace, look at your culture. How is that affecting? How is your culture reflecting the results that you're seeing, right? So culture is super important, and it's something that it gets more like on the group environment, no, not as much in the individual, but I think it's something that finishes the 10 pillars of mental performance. So all these 10 things that we just list over here is the skill set that you need to be better at your mental performance game. All right. And what I say about skill set, all right, skill set, if you're a point guard, what is your skill set? Oh, you need to be a good ball handler. You probably need to have like a decent shot. You need to have the ability to read the floor. That's the skill set of the point guard. These 10 things that we just mentioned are the skill set of the mental game and how you can be better on that in relation to all these 10 things that we just talked about.
Awesome. Does
All right.
anybody have any questions before we move on to the next section? Adriano obviously covered a lot there, you know, and we don't have time to go into details on all of them. Hopefully, Adriano, you'll have time to go into details on one or two sections here. But before we get that started, maybe has anything come up for anybody on that that initial part, please type it in the Zoom in the chat here, and I'll fire them off to Adriano as soon as they arrive.
Good. Let me know. And the last thing is like, okay, how do we buy into this? How we actually make people, players, all right, you that you're listening, is like how I get this like to make sense to me. Because yeah, everything sounds pretty, everything sounds like awesome. Adriano, you're fired up about this. It's obviously that you like it, but like, man, I don't feel like engaged to this. And this is what I call the 4th stage of acceptance. And this is not just on mental performance. This is every time that you're introducing something new to someone, it is a move, it is a drill, it is a play. You go through the 4 stages of acceptance. And that is, the first one is, this is not for me. No, I'm not built for this. I don't want to try it. Like, I'm okay the way I'm right now. So this is not for me. That's the first stage. Second stage is like, this is okay for others. It might be okay for LeBron James. It might be okay for Jamal Murray. For me, not so much. Then we move into the 3rd stage. I will try it. I'll give it a try. Let's see how it goes, right? And once you go through that 3rd stage, the 4th stage is like, I can't believe I was doing it in a different way. I can't believe that I was doing it differently. I can't believe I never tried this, right? Because once you try it, I can guarantee this process, these things are going to get you results. And it's going to make you better at whatever stage and whatever thing that you want to be better, because the mental part is that important, right? So once you try it and you see results, you're going to say like, man, I can't believe I was doing that differently. How do you move from the stage 1 to the stage 4? Simple. Show what the competition is doing. Show what others are doing and are succeeding doing these things that they're afraid to try. Show someone that they admire. Show someone that they look up to doing the things that you want them to do, right? So for example, I have a video here, it's just 2 minutes, that is Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson talking about mindfulness and meditation and how that affects their program for the Phil Jackson, and how was this affecting this Kobe Bryant when he was a player and when he was with that. So are you okay with go with this video, Eric?
Yeah.
All right, I got it here.
I never costed in Zen stuff. You know, I approached it with mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yes.
So we talked about mindfulness as being, you know, as much as we pump iron and we run to build our strength up, we need to build our mental strength up. We need to build our mental strength so we can focus, give one pointed attention, and so that we can be in concert with one another in times of need. When you come off the court, you had a bad call, things going wrong for you, you sit on the bench, take a breath, and you reseat yourself, you reset yourself. And you do that through this mindfulness. You just come right back in and collect yourself. So we practiced mindfulness. It's what you have to do. But what did stick was meditation. That was always something that was able to stick with these guys.
So powerful.
Yeah. I meditate every day. And I normally I do it in the mornings, and I do it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it's important because it sets me up for the rest of the day. You know, it helps me. It's like having an anchor. You know, if I don't do it, I feel like I'm constantly chasing the day, as opposed to being able to be controlled and dictate the day. Not that you're, calling the shots on what comes forward. But the fact that I am set and ready for whatever may come my way. I have a calmness about whatever comes my way, poised. And that comes from starting the morning off with meditation.
So you would literally have the guy sit in stillness.
That's right.
Meditating.
That's right. Taught them how to hold their hands, where the shoulders have to be, the whole process of being in an upright situation so that you're not slouched and you're not going to fall asleep. And they bought into it.
All right. So that was the video there about meditation, and like just it's that easy. It's like, hey, if Kobe Bryant did it, if Phil Jackson did it, that he was one of the best of all times, I will give it a try. And that's the easiest way to start getting engaged on this process. Try to look people that you are looking up to. Try to look persons that you admire. Try to look your competition. What are they doing? And that's going to help you to get from that first stage to the next one and the next one, until you get to the fourth stage and say like, man, I can't believe I was doing it in a different way. So that's pretty much it from my end. I don't know, Eric, if you have any question or anything that you want to ask. I'm going to stop the share here.
No, I mean, thank you, Adriano. I think that that was great. And it was a great overview. I also know that you spent hundreds and hundreds of hours doing this course. So thank you for putting that time in. But I also know you learned a lot of sort of details in each of those 10 pillars that the courses went into. Is there anything in particular that you'd sort of say, obviously we can't go into it in all of them, but is there one that you'd particularly like to touch on that might sort of give more insight of some useful tools for our players?
For sure. As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of the routines and habits of excellence. I think it's a great one, and it's something that you can just change really quick. And if you don't mind, I would like to get a little more in depth in that one, just real quick, to not take a lot of time of the people here. But yeah, I think it's a great pillar, most of all because there is a lot of myths and mistakes around it. Like, people usually think, okay, if I have a routine, I'm becoming a robot. Right? I'm not flowing with the day. I'm not having any kind of freedom. And that's completely the opposite, right? You're always going to have things in your day that are going to keep you on edge, are going to keep you on your toes, right? The important thing is, can you predetermine those things that are taking space on your mind, right? To make sure that you have the energy that you need for those decision-making moments, right? How many things in your day you can predetermine to make sure that when the decision-making comes, right, you are fresh and you're focused on that specific task that you need to achieve. And for example, like super simple, I'm not talking about basketball. Let's say that I'm getting up in the morning and I'm going to work, and I prepare my clothes the day before, right? So I have everything there. I took a shower, I put my clothes on, I have my breakfast ready because I knew there was coffee at my house, so I'm having a coffee. Boom, I take the car, and when I get out of my house, there is an accident. So that is going to make me grab another route, try to go in a different way, and it's probably going to take me some time, but I need to figure that out. So that's something that I was not expecting. I was planning everything that I could, but then there was something that was unexpected, and that requires my decision making. Okay, what am I going to do on that? Now let's put it on the other side. Let's say that I woke up in the morning, I took a shower, and then it's like, oh man, my pants are dirty. I don't find my t-shirt. I don't find my backpack. I have a meeting, so I need to bring the computer. I'm scrambling all over. In the moment that I'm going to grab breakfast, oh, there is no coffee. Man, okay, I'm going to go to Starbucks on the run. I get into my car, all kind of like hyped out because I have like kind of a rush morning. I get out, there is a accident. So now I need to think, okay, I didn't have breakfast. I don't have the time to go to Starbucks anymore. I'm already kind of late because I leave my house late. And on top of that, I need to make a decision of what I'm going to do. So that becomes really stressful. Why it becomes stressful? Because you put yourself in a situation that the decision that you needed to make, it was like just so stressful because you made a lot of mistakes before that you could avoid. So it's not being a robot, it's having some kind of structure in your day, in your life, in your game, to make sure that in the moment that the decision making comes, you have the energy to attack that decision with the right energy. And a quick example of that is like, on basketball, the Marquette women's team, all right, on the States, they do a great job. They have a routine for everything. Like, no kidding, they have a routine for everything. And my favorite thing that they do is like they do it on the timeouts. Every time they take a timeout, all the teams go to the bench. They put the chairs there. The 5 players on the court sit on the chairs, and the other players, they sit exactly behind those players per position. So if the point guard is sitting here and I'm a point guard that is on the bench, I'm standing behind that player. And like that, everyone else, right? So they are kind of in a position. Then they're discussing what they call DOC. They're discussing defense, offense, culture. The coaching staff on their part, they're doing the same stuff. They're discussing, how is our defense looking? How is our offense looking? How is our culture? And our culture could be communication, hustle, all those little things, right? So they're discussing that. The coaching staff is discussing that. They come together, the head coach sits in front and they say, check in. Everyone replies all in because they're all present and focused in the present moment. And the head coach says, what you got? And the player said like, okay, this is what we got on defense, offense, culture. Then the coaching staff reply what did they have on defense, offense, culture, and they come together with the next step of what they're going to do moving forward and what is the best decision that they need to make for the next play. They all stand up and they put the left hand into a huddle, not the right, because the left is the one closer to the heart. They put the palms up because they want to lift each other up, and they break on 1, not on 3, because nobody wants to finish third, they want to finish first. And that's just a little thing of what they do. And it could be overwhelming, it could be too much, but it's intention. There is intention behind every single aspect of what they do. And that's why then that allows them to play fast, to play a high tempo, because they are not thinking on like small details. They have their mind and their body fresh to execute what they need to execute. So that's something that I really like, the power of those routines. And I think they're just great. And then another myth or mistake that there is like, I try routines, but I never can stick to any one of them. I can't stick to any routine. And it's like, okay, I get it, but everyone has routines. You like it or not, you have a routine, you have a morning routine, you have a night routine, you have a pre-game routine, you have a routine, you like it or not. And if you're not aware of what your routine is, it's because probably your routine is not as good, right? Because everyone has a routine, all right? So what you need to do is you need to try to identify that routine, all right? And try to make it more intentional. Put some intention behind it. So that is going to affect your day, your game, your play, your practice in a positive way, right? And then we have the habits of excellence. And habits of excellence, as we mentioned before, they go hand by hand with the routines. And the first thing that I want to talk, and it's something that everyone can do right away, is what we call the 3 steps of the habit loop, right? You have the trigger first, you have the routine, and you have the reward. For example, it's late at night, I'm watching TV and I'm getting hungry. That's my trigger. My routine is I go to the covers, I open it on my kitchen, I grab a bag of chips, and I get back to the couch. The reward is like, I'm satisfied, I ate my chips, I'm still watching TV, boom. That's a little habit that I have, for example. How you can make that habit better, right? The trigger is still going to be the same. The trigger is still going to be me watching TV and getting hungry. Now I need to have the decision to, instead of having Doritos or chips or whatever things that is maybe not super healthy on my covers, maybe I have something that is a little bit more healthy. So in the moment that I'm going to grab that, I'm not needing my self-control not to grab those things because I had the discipline before to put the right thing on the covers. So I'm grabbing that. The reward is good as well. I'm satisfied. I'm not hungry anymore. I can keep up with my day. And the same happens in basketball. For example, what is the trigger? I'm going for a layup. I got fouled, super clear. The ref didn't call it. That's the trigger, a bad call from the ref. What is my routine? What I'm doing after? Oh, I'm yelling, I'm swearing to the ref, to the coach. I'm looking to the stands, putting my hands on the air. I'm showing everyone that I'm super disappointed. All right, that's the way I react. What is the reward? Everyone in the gym knows that I don't agree with the ref, right? It's clearly that I think that was a foul, all right? And I'm letting everyone know, hey, that was a foul. He's wrong, I'm right. That's the reward that I get. I show everyone my discontent with the situation. Same thing, same trigger. I go for a layup, I get fouled, ref don't call it. You change the routine. Instead of like putting my arms on the air and complaining, that is something that is not actually gonna help me, all right? I try to refocus. Maybe I might say, okay, I'll give you this one. Let's go for the next one. I think on the next play, let's go back on D, let's try to get a stop so we can get it back. The reward is that I'm helping my team on the next possession. I'm focused on the present moment. I'm ready to take the next task and to get through that situation. So something that is super easy to know is like, okay, what are your triggers? What is something that triggering you at your house, at a game? And what is your action after? Okay, and how is that affecting your reward? And if you are able to identify triggers and change the routine, the reward is going to be always better, right? So that's something that is super simple, but I think is pretty valuable, and it's something that I like a lot because it helps you in a really easy way to identify things and to change it right away. The last thing that I want to mention in the routines and habits of excellence is like prepare to prepare. For example, as I was mentioning before, everyone probably has a free throw routine. Maybe some of you have a pre-game routine. How many of you have a pre-practice routine? Probably, I would say like 5% of the players that we coach. Not many of them have a pre-practice routine, and that's why you need to be prepared to prepare, right? Be as intentional as you can with everything that you do and everything that you can predetermine, because that's going to help you, right, to get the best out of each situation. And as we all know, this is something that everyone knows here, the way you practice is the way you play. So why you have a pre-game routine and you don't have a pre-practice routine when you know that practice is as important or more important than the game, right? So those little things, identifying those little things are going to help you so much on the long run, because it's something that you can achieve like this, right? So that's a little bit more about the pillar of routines and habits of excellence. And I think I'm something that I really like, and I wish I could have way more routines than the ones that I have, but I already have a lot. So I'm happy with my path on that.
Great. Well, Adriano, you're probably being nicer than I am. I'm going to give some homework to the players, and I know Coach Eric's listening, so he can follow up, and you can do it with the girls. Is maybe to challenge everybody to come to practice with a trigger that they have that ends up triggering a routine that isn't positive for them. That obviously they get some sort of reward out of it, but that they could choose a different routine to that trigger and try and make a positive outcome. So you gave a couple examples there. I'm challenging the players to come up with a few of their own. So I think that's, super, sort of practical information that we can all take and improve. And really, really well delivered. I appreciate you doing that, Adriano. I did have one question that popped up here from somebody. Just sort of saying, like, how can we, are there any tools, mental tools that we can use to build our confidence?
Confidence, that's huge. Yeah, that's great. Confidence. Where does confidence come from? Where do you think confidence comes from? It comes from a lot of different things, but for the main thing that it comes is from preparation. Are you prepared for that task that you want to achieve? It's like, oh man, like someone comes to you and it's like, I'm not getting my shots in, like I'm losing confidence. Okay, how is your preparation on your shot? And when you ask players this, it's like, hey, are you prepared to be confident? And the majority of them will say like, yes, I'm prepared, I put time on this and that. Okay, cool, let's write it down. When you start writing down, okay, how is your preparation looking? Oh, I shoot on Wednesday morning when we have the time on the oval, and that's it. Okay, so when you start writing things down, you sometimes realize, okay, I'm not as prepared, all right, as I thought I was. And like confidence comes 100%, not 100%, but mainly from preparation. Then it's like, the question is like, what is confidence? You ask someone, what is confidence? And people might say, it's a feeling. Confidence is a feeling, something that you feel. And that's not true. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a behavior, all right? You behave confident. For example, if a UFC fighter that is walking through the octagon, through a ring, right? That person is probably terrified. It's like, oh man, like I'm going to get punched a lot. But they're looking as confident. Their behavior is like, I got this. So the way that I like to break it down is like what we call BFS. That is body language, focus, and self-talk. If we're able to hit all those three, that is going to give you confidence. Body language, how's your body language looking when you're looking confident? You're probably having your head up, your chest moving forward, you're being like kind of active, you're talking with your teammates, right? That's how a confident person behaves. How is your focus? Are you thinking on what is happening right now? Or you are stuck in the past, you're thinking 2 way ahead, right? What is giving you confidence to deliver the next task in a good way is being on the present moment. And how is your self-talk? This happens a lot, and mostly with young athletes. Your self-talk, usually you miss a shot, and the first thing that comes to your head is like, oh my gosh, I hope that coach didn't see this, I airball, oh, I'm terrible. Like, that is not going to help your confidence. You need to be nice the way you talk to yourself, because you are listening. When you talk to yourself, you are listening. So you need to be aware of those things. So body language, focus, and self-talk, right? BFS, that is going to make sure that is giving you a lot of confidence, right? And something that could happen, a player is confident, they're doing all the things right, and they're hitting like a shooting slump. They're in a game, you have your best shooter, Eric Butler, great shooter. He missed 3 in a row, and he's coming to the bench. He's like, I don't know what's happening. I'm not feeling confident on my game or my shot today. I missed the last 3. And sometimes he's just putting things in perspective. He's okay, Eric, you missed your last 3. What about the last 300? I know all the time that you have been putting. I know that you're a good shooter, right? Let's just change the measurement. You missed the last 3. What about the last 300? Oh no, like, that's fine. Okay, so that is going to take players out of that slump right away, because you're putting them in a different perspective. You're making them, again, elite mindset, elite perspective, right? You're going to make them see things in a different way. And that's sometimes all they need to get out of that slump, to get out of that moment that they're feeling anxious or maybe depressed. And this is something that, the last thing to finish this about confidence, that the Navy SEALs say a lot. You're feeling with anxiety when you're too worried and too focused on what's going to happen next. Okay, I missed this shot. Oh man, I'm probably going to miss the next one, and you feel all anxious. All right. you get depressed when you're too focused on the past. Oh, I missed the last 3 shots. Your focus is there. You're getting depressed because you couldn't help your team with the last 3 shots. You get your optimal performance when you're focused in what is matter right now, right? So if you can have your focus and your awareness on what is happening right now and have a good body language, a good focus, and a good self-talk, right, the confidence is going to come by itself.
Great.
So-
Well, a great complete answer, Adriano. Really appreciate it. And let me see if there's one more question. Yeah, just a question about sort of culture and routines here. Will Cobra teams be bringing a greater focus on this area? You know, and maybe I'll start with that answer, Adrian, before turning it over to you. But I think that, you know, it's something we talk about all of the time, our culture. You know, it's why we start our season with the, you know, giving out the, you know, our team, our core values, and as well as our standards of performance. I mean, really, those are the habits that we feel are most important on a team basis. And, you know, those if you're not familiar with those standards of performance, they go everything from, you know, our defensive transition, what spots we need to be at what moments, to, you know, our help side defense, to the way we move the ball, the way we communicate, you know, and they're all the basic standards. So until we get those, you know, entirely licked, we probably, you know, I think that's our number one priority. You know, and I think that it's more of opportunities like this that, you know, as coaches, we have so much we need to focus on. So it's something that we can only, you know, touch on, but I definitely think, you know, we'll do something like this again with Adriano and give a chance for, you know, players to kind of learn about these things. But I think on a day-to-day basis, they you know, aren't something that we can spend sort of half an hour talking about in practice or anything like that. What about you, Adriano? How do you respond to that?
No, I think, yeah, I totally agree. And like, of course, like different levels, different kind of routines, different kind of structures. Like, we're not going to compare ourselves to the Marquette Women's program that they do. They have a timeout routine, but we have things in place. For example, on the girls' side, we have a predetermined warm-up that we do every day. Maybe if parents are listening, you didn't know that, but like if practice starts at 8, there is a countdown on the gym. If it is 7:50, we put 10 minutes on the clock. When that countdown comes to 0, all the players already know what they need to do. They go to their hoops. They start for 2 minutes of like some quick shots to the basket. Next 2 minutes, they change into a start passing and shooting. Then they move on into layup lines, and they finish with 3 spot shooting. So this is a full warm up of 8 minutes. It's intentional. It's like it has a progression to make sure they're ready to go. In that moment that the players are doing the warm up, us as a coaching staff, we review our practice plan. We talk from different aspects that we want to cover, and we put different tasks to ourselves as a coaching staff. Okay, I'm going to maybe be the one leading the whole practice. I want you to focus on this specific thing on the practice. I want you to be looking to this player that has been struggling on this. We talk about that. We come to a common sense. When the warm-up finish, players clap together, they cheer. We all make a circle together. I first ask them how they're doing, because before they're persons before being basketball players, and I like to know how they are. After that, we communicate the practice plan to the players so they know what to expect in the next hour, an hour and 15. And after that, we get right into the practice. But it's a little routine, but it has an intention, it has a structure, and it gets things accomplished on the long term. How we finish practice, we all get together, we do a debrief of practice, right? We clap all together, sometimes for 5, 10, 20 seconds. Why we clap? It's something that I took from the Argentina national team. We clap to respect each other, to show appreciation for whoever is next to us, and to show appreciation to ourselves. We clap all together, and then we cheer, and that's the practice done. So there is a structure. Of course, it changes depending on the level, all right, and the age that you are. But what is important is trying to be intentional with the routines that you put in your practice, in your day, right? And there is ways to do that at every single level. So for all the pillars that I said, there is assessments that I do with some players that I work with to make sure where they're at, and there is activities to get better on all these skills, right? That there is activities to get better at meditation. There is activities to get better focus. There is skills and training for everything. And yeah, if someone wants to learn more or like someone has questions, just feel free to ask. We're more than happy to help, and we're happy that you, Eric, have actually an interest in this, and we are giving me the chance to talk about it and giving me the space. So yeah, super grateful about it.
Yeah, and you know what, you guys let us know if this has been really helpful to you. Like obviously, you know, Adriano usually is incredibly busy, you know, 7 nights a week with coaching and everything, but I know he's got a passion for it, and you know, we're trying to with everything we do, whether it's you know, something like last night's recruiting seminar or this or some of the coaches we had on in the summer. We're always looking for other ways that we can help players, and it always helps hearing feedback from you guys about what is most helpful. So I think that pretty much wraps it up here. I think we've got through all of the questions. Really appreciate it, Adriano. Appreciate all your guys' time. Hopefully you guys have a great New Year's, safe COVID New Year's, and we will see you back on the court after that. And before that on the Zoom call, 5 o'clock on the 1st. And just the plug for that one is a chance for us to kind of celebrate, you know, in the best way we can here in 2020, a little bit of the year with a little bit of with a video from the past year, as well as just a bit of talk for next year. Come with any questions you have about the season, about high school seasons, whatever it is. We're an open book to try and answer, you know, and get any questions you have, and give you the best, the clearest picture of what next year is going to look like. Yeah. So thank you, Adriano. Any parting words?
No, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We started at 6:05, so it's 6:05. It was 59 minutes, so I keep it under an hour.
You're the best, Adriano. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.